Hello and welcome to our stream. We have been replaced by chatbots. I hope you're ready to learn about Amazon Lex today.
Hi Twitch, I am excited to show you Amazon Lex.
I can't type too fast, but I am a highly intelligent AI.
I can type faster than you.
Okay. What's going on? What happened to AM and Nicki?
We left the building.
We left the building.
We were replaced by chatbots, so.
Okay. So I don't have to do anything this episode.
No, either do I. We were relinquished. It's purely focused on where Polly chatbot wants to take us.
Sounds like Brian and Justin are going to take over the show.
They are.
That's
actually.
good. Your voice was creepier than mine.
You want me to change my voice to be less creepy?
Yeah, can you change your voice?
I can change my voice at your wishes.
That's better. That's better. Justin's just a little creepy, but I like using
like
Justin
it.
sometimes. It's
The Justin voice is just like, I feel like it really gets me. It's like a child at heart.
Welcome to Build with AM and Nicki. We're AM and Nicki. It's right there in the title. This is a Twitch show that you and I run, and for this season, we're building a startup together. Just because, why not? Right?
Absolutely, why not? And today we're gonna incorporate chatbots into our startup and how that works and how we're gonna do that and like why we're doing that and how we're gonna use it in an important way.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna talk about, it's one of the topics that I wanted you to talk about as a previous startup owner. How do you decide what becomes important to build, right? A chatbot doesn't necessarily warrant the highest priority in my mind to a startup.
Not necessarily, no.
Right. So we're going to have to go through and talk about some of the reasons why you might build one, right?
Yep.
And some reasons why you might not.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. We've got previous seasons too. You can come watch on demand. Those are on YouTube, right?
Who should watch?
Anybody, I hope.
Anybody can watch.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you are in your development career, if you're just starting out learning to code or you're a senior developer, anybody can follow along and watch this show. We'll take you all the way from the beginning to the end with whatever we're doing so you can start just as fresh as we probably did 2 days ago when we started playing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm passionate too, and I know this is true for you as well, but I'm passionate about people who are not programmers learning to program too. I was a fourth grade elementary school teacher before I took the first steps into this crazy,
I had like 4 different careers,
crazy
so it's not
world.
worth listing them.
Right. So I think anybody, given the right access to resources and right time, basically, can learn to be a programmer.
Absolutely. You can learn to do exactly what we just did and play with Polly and chatbots, and you can do really fun things. You can also do really serious, productive things and build your own startup from the ground up. So we have been adding to a GitHub repo all along and also working off of a Trello board. Both have been posted in previous episodes, but we will post them again for you in the chat, or I will.
Okay. Yeah, and one of our friends, Jess, put up a Twitter post for us today asking about our friends, this dragon and that phoenix over there, to ask their names, and she actually answered it, so she gets the shout out today too. So shout out to Jessica, right?
Shout out to Jess for getting their names. I really missed Flames. Like, I was gone all week.
Yeah.
I was in California, and I have a really close relationship to Flames, so I missed him.
I think, I don't know.
You're
Guy Fieri the Dragon and I, we're going through a rough patch, I think.
Oh, you are going through a rough patch right now? I'm
It's
really
just-
sorry to hear that.
He's not communicating with me the way that I feel. Like, we're just not in tune with
You're
our
not in
emotions
sync.
together. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway.
Flames immediately understood what I was trying to get at when I sat down in this chair today. So
Thank you for
we have that vibe.
rubbing in your better relationship.
You're welcome.
That's fine.
No problem. Flames also has a relationship with Justin too, so the robot.
The robot Justin.
Just to be clear.
Not your fiance Justin.
No, not that one.
Okay. So we're talking about Amazon Lex today. Why did we start out with these voices? And what service is doing those voices?
Amazon Polly is the one that can basically take text and synthesize it to audio. And so that's what we're using. He built it in a bash script, and I wrote it in a web application. You can use Polly in all the forms of our SDK that it offers, so like JavaScript, .NET, even just CLI, any way that you'd like to use it, and you can use it to synthesize text to audio, which is really cool. And when we're building a Lexbot, we can actually build our Lexbot and then have Polly synthesize the outputs. So Polly can actually speak in one of the voices. And there's a lot of different voices that Polly offers in a lot of different languages even.
Yeah. It's my favorite kind of ML, actually. My favorite type of machine learning. It's machine learning
it is.
that sits behind an API that I didn't have to do anything for, right? I just can call the API. And then magically...
yeah, you like to consistently talk to me in this voice at your desk.
I do that too, yeah.
Just to irritate me. But just to irritate him, I specifically wore a Friends t-shirt today. I woke up this morning and I was like, what could I do today to irritate AM on the show? Because I knew he was going to do this Polly thing. Bam, here it is.
It's not my favorite show.
I know. It's also not your favorite shirt.
I'm more of a Seinfeld fan.
Anyways, back to what we're doing today.
All right.
So we're going to be doing 4 different things today in this episode. First, we're going to show you how to create an Amazon Lexbot in the console. So the cool thing about this is that it requires absolutely no programming experience to do this, no code involved. So if you're just starting out in your development career and you want to be able to build a bot, it's for everyone. You could do it straight in the console. Then we're going to go and build one in our terminal using Amplify. It should be fairly simple. A little bit of code involved, but still not that much. Amplify mostly did the work for us. And then we're going to talk about how we're going to use it in our own startup and why we're using it, and what AM built to show us today that is going to be very useful for me as CEO.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's your role again?
My real role or my role at our fake startup?
Your role at our fake startup.
The role at the fake startup is CTO, I think, for now, until you fire me, right?
You're not fired yet.
I've been...
You've been very close.
Close.
You've been like right up there, but...
Which you didn't even give me feedback about how to improve. So.
We can talk about it later.
I think it's a failure of management.
I don't get along with Guy Fieri either, so we have like a dual issue here.
I get along with the real Guy Fieri. I don't get along with the dragon.
No, me either. It's a problem.
The dragon's a little moody.
You bring him every time, and I just can't. I'm not handling it so well.
I see. It's the people I associate myself with.
That's right.
Okay. All right. I've associated myself with you, too. Just saying. I'm proud of that.
That's a good point.
And I think it's one of the best things I've chosen to associate with you. But apparently you don't share that.
No, I do share that.
All right.
You know I do.
Fair enough.
I'll be serious for a second.
That
for a hot.
You're gonna confuse me if you get serious.
I will.
We're actually we're watching Twitch chat too, so be sure to chat at us as we are building these chat bots.
We encourage interactivity and participation. I'm watching the chat. He's watching the chat. We'll answer your questions live if you have them as we're going through. I think we should start by talking about how we decide what's important enough to build.
Yeah. So I mean, this is one of the most important things in my mind, since I'm the CTO, for any startup, is how do you prioritize the things that you need to build, right? Because I feel like, and you probably have direct, real experience with this, you could run around and listen to everybody, and okay, you listen to this group and this is the highest priority, but then you go to the next group and there's a bigger, higher priority.
You accomplish nothing when you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You get nowhere.
Everything's on fire, nothing's on fire. That's what an old manager of mine used to say. So how do you prioritize?
It's a great question. So I think the first thing you should prioritize as CTO of this startup is finishing our MVP. So whatever that takes, whatever we've outlined as our actual MVP, those things should take precedence over anything else. So if I come to you and I'm like, hey, I need you to build this new feature. I have this great idea. You're like, that's nice because I have this MVP that I have to get done. And you have to choose to ignore, well, I'm supposed to be protecting you from the outside world, but in the event that I get really overly excited about a feature that is really not true MVP, you're going to have to tell me, like, no, Nicki, we're not going to do that because that's not our MVP, and we have to get through our MVP, however long that may take.
I'm definitely getting fired. I cannot see a scenario where I'm not fired. Okay, cool.
Okay, the next one I'd say is, so as we get alpha or even beta customers, they're going to have feature requests.
Yeah.
We do need to try to prioritize those with also keeping in mind building our MVP. So if we find that there's a feature request or a feature alteration that we can make that fits in the confines of the MVP, we should do it. We should stay customer focused and listen to our customers. Especially if we get a paying customer, then we need to start listening even more intently and put some of our feature list on the back burner for their feature list.
Okay. That's interesting. You bring up a paying customer, right? So not all customers are weighted equally then.
No, not all customers actually end up getting weighted equally. So in the beginning, you usually are going to have some customers that aren't paying yet or are trialing your software or your program or your app or whatever it is. And those customers, their feedback is important. But, you know, as we go along, we might actually get someone to pay. You know, we might get like 15 alpha customers that are free trialing our software. And then, you know, eventually we land the 16th one and they're willing to pay for our product.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that person's feedback is going to take precedence. The free trial customer feedback is important, and we will keep it, and we will gather it, and we will store it somewhere. But the paying customer is the one we prioritize.
Right. So that's where the roadmap gets its most input from is for people who are
customer focused,
paying for the service.
Yep.
Which seems like a fantasy right now that anybody would ever pay for our startup.
You need to have a little bit of faith.
Okay. See, this is why you're CEO.
Yeah, because I'm going to reinstore faith in you every time you're like, this is not happening for us. We're going up in flames.
Well, I've seen how it was built so far. And I understand
you were the CTO.
the nitty gritty, and I'm like,
built.
oh, yikes. That's going to fall apart.
So you're saying, oh, yikes to your own architecture. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think we all do that, don't we? I hope so.
True imposter syndrome.
Yeah. I love that.
I'm actually feeling
syndrome.
that today a lot.
I know you're talking
having
about
a little
that.
bit of an episode of imposter syndrome.
I think that. Okay, first I acknowledge your feelings, and I think that's valid that you're having those feelings. I'm putting on my my psychology hat right now.
Okay, great.
Which looks identical to my regular hat.
Excellent.
But it's a metaphorical hat that's going on right now. But I validate your feelings. I think it's okay for you to feel that.
And?
I just want you to know that I'm not trying to make you stop feeling your feelings.
But
you should have no reason to have
I knew
imposter
that was
syndrome.
coming. Unjustified. Take it away.
You're very
forget about it.
Very highly respected and technical. Everybody knows it.
Thank you. I
There you go.
appreciate that.
All right.
Okay, the last thing I had to say was that there are going to be processes that we find that are important to automate. For example, if I'm harassing you on a daily basis, how many users do we have?
Hold on, wait a minute.
Okay, so
when
I harass you on a daily basis, how many users we
right.
have because I don't have access to the database for whatever reason,
Yes.
and you are like, I can't get anything done because you won't stop harassing me, that's a case where you can automate the process and build me a bot or build me a dashboard or something that I can look at. There's going to be more of me harassing you.
Yeah,
as
probably.
we hire, there's going to be a marketing
see that
department that's
happening.
harassing you and a product manager that's harassing you, and it's just going to be a massive harassment of the CTO. So if you find that there are certain processes that you can automate to eliminate harassment, those are priority as well.
Okay, so even though so the chatbot that we're going to build today is an internal facing chatbot, right?
It is.
So it's only a chatbot for use by
Me.
people in the company, right?
Me.
So, you might consider that and go, well, wait a minute, that's not delivering value to our customers.
That's true.
Should we make this a priority? That was my first question when we were talking about it. But you convinced me that this is going to make all of our lives easier.
Because I'm
in the
going to
long
harass you all day long, and you're not going to be able to actually build the MVP unless I get this data, because I need to be delivering this data to investors that I'm talking to, potential customers that I'm talking to. People are constantly asking me for this data, / I just need to know how we're doing as a company so that I can plan and strategize what our future looks like. And so if you can't give me the data in a short amount of time, then that's a process that we need to automate so that I can get it from you.
Right. And so I thought, why not a chatbot, right?
Great idea.
Then you can interact directly with that bot. It's not just an Excel spreadsheet or something, right? Like, it's a nicer way for you. And I did some research, right? Actually heard this, I forget his name, but he was like a serial entrepreneur, right? Always starting up new businesses. And one of the things he said was he really likes the idea of he would rather you take 2 weeks to do research than 2 weeks to code. Because sometimes you can eliminate those 2 weeks of coding.
That's right.
Just by doing some research and turn that 2 weeks of coding into 2 weeks of research and 2 days of coding.
Yeah, absolutely true.
And you've discovered something that like shortcuts what you were trying to build, some managed service, something like that, right?
So what did you discover in your research?
Amazon Lex.
Whoa!
Yeah, of course. So I wanted to say Skull Crusher brought up a really good point about we did not talk about Seinfeld or Friends in the interview process for the CTO position, which might put me back on the development plan just because I like Seinfeld. Good call out, Skull Crusher.
I should definitely make that as an interview question for follow-up
Friends or Seinfeld
employees that we interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also Ravenclaw and Gryffindor, we've established our brand really well.
Ravenclaw, Gryffindor.
Yeah. I appreciate that you recognize which houses we fall into, right? I wanted to ask you before we go on, and this take 2 minutes tops. I don't want to go on a wild tangent.
You have a serious question for me?
Yeah, very serious.
Okay.
If you could take any...
Serious hat.
I've already thought of two. If you could take any celebrity and immortalize that celebrity as a chatbot that lives on forever, what celebrity would you pick? I've picked two. Would you like to hear mine first, or would you like to go first?
Wait, I get to pick anyone?
Any celebrity to immortalize as a chatbot that you
You're
could
not
just...
going to like my answer.
Oh, great. Okay. Who?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. All right. I went a different way.
Of course you did. What way did you go?
Mine was tied with two, and I only bring it up because of Hogwarts. My first one was Keanu Reeves. Because I think he's just such a great person, right?
Okay.
So nice. My second one that was tied with Keanu was Maggie Smith, aka McGonagall from Hogwarts, right? From Harry Potter.
Yes.
I think Maggie Smith would make a great chatbot.
Did you build those?
No, I didn't build them. But,
okay.
But I had to know
just
who would you immortalize, and also
it would be
Twitch.
Steve.
Who would you immortalize as a chatbot?
Are you gonna build me a bot? Like an actual like celebrity bot, like aside from the startup?
No, I've built a couple bots that we'll look at later, but I want to get started with you showing us how does Amazon Lex work? How can I get started with Amazon
Yeah,
Lex?
I am happy to show everyone how it works. So
Okay,
we're just
cool.
gonna switch over to my screen for a sec, because I'm gonna show the how to create a Lex bot without writing a single line of code. So we're gonna go to Amazon Lex, and we're just gonna hit create. So by the way, pick a region. It's only available in these 4 regions right now, but hopefully more soon. So I picked US West Oregon because we're in Seattle and that's really close. I'm just gonna create another bot. I can create a bot from template, which is really awesome. So they've already built these 3 bots: book trip, order flowers, schedule appointment. So if you have a startup or a company where you're doing something similar, I highly suggest you start with one of these templates, because it basically has most of the bot built for you, and you might have to just tweak a couple of things. We're going to build a custom bot. This is going to be the Petunia bot.
Oh, okay. I also built a Petunia bot.
So do you want to just call this Petunia test bot?
No.
It's not. It's just a fake bot for now. Then we got to pick a voice. So these voices are coming from Polly. Justin was the child voice that I was speaking in earlier.
This is if you were actually using something that supports voice.
Right. Our bot is mostly going to be text-based, but we can pick a voice. So what voice do you want to pick? Joanna?
Joey for Friends, right?
Hello, my name is Joey.
That doesn't sound like Joey from Friends.
No. How about Joanna?
Hello, my name is Joanna.
She sounds like a...
I like Joanna more.
Yeah, me too. All right, session timeout. So the average timeout is 5. So if the session is timed out after 5 minutes, the chat is going to go away and like start over, basically. IAM role, so it's automatically created for me on my behalf, and then it's going to ask me about COPA, which if you're creating a bot for children, you would have to select yes, but we're not doing that. So, no.
But you said you had childlike wonder, like Justin. Would you have to select yes then?
That's like a weird error message that didn't have anything in it. I do. I really like Justin's voice because it's childlike.
Okay.
And I speak like a child like half the time.
Do you know the childlike empress from the Neverending Story? You probably don't.
Actually, I do.
Do you? Yes!
Yes.
That's a pop culture reference you get.
Yes.
I'm very excited
I got a
about it.
reference.
The childlike empress. Do you know what her name is?
I can't remember, but I can picture her.
She's got, that's the whole premise of Neverending Story, is Bastion has to give her a name.
I don't remember.
I'll
what
tell
her
you her name later on in the stream. Let's see if anybody on Twitch knows. You can go Google it, but that's not fair. Falcor is right here. He's hidden on mine.
Okay, so first what we have to do
Anyway.
is create an intent. So an intent is a goal that we want to achieve with the bot. So
Right.
let's say in the case of our application or our startup, I want billing info. Like I want to know how much are we racking up on our AWS bill every single month. So that's the intent, for me to get billing info back. The slot would be like if the bot needs some information from me to achieve this goal. So maybe it needs my account ID because it can look up multiple account IDs, billing info. Maybe it asks me, okay, what is your account ID? And then I say, okay, my account ID is blah, blah, blah. And then it says, okay, your monthly bill is whatever, $10 a month. So that's basically how it works. An utterance is what kicks off the bot. So in the same vein that you say Alexa, and Alexa triggers the bot to activate, an utterance does the same thing for our bot. So an utterance can be, hi, Petunia bot, or hi there, or anything that you choose, but we are going to define our utterances. So let's create an intent.
And the intent is the full action, right? So like when you give an utterance, the intent encapsulates that utterance and then also encapsulates things like slots, fulfillment of that utterance, all kinds of things like that. So think of the intent as the whole container for what you're trying to do. Uh-oh.
I had a typo for a second.
Oh, that's fine. You like to
It was
see my AWS monthly bill. I don't want to see that, actually. Might give me some sticker shock. For mine.
Wow, I can't type. Okay.
So we're actually
That's another one.
with this one. You're going to you're not going to do any coding at all for this.
No,
right?
I'm not going to do any coding at all.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go through creating the bot, and then I'm going to use the little test bot over here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just a couple utterances is fine.
Couple utterances is fine. So these are my kickoff utterances for this intent. And then my slot, I technically don't really need a slot because I probably only have one AWS account because I'm a startup. But I could add in here account ID, and then it could prompt me for what is your account ID. I'm going to skip that for a sec.
You can think of slots as like variables, right?
Yep, variables that the bot needs to answer questions.
It's user-provided information.
If I needed to validate some info coming back, so let's say I did have a slot and I'm asking for an email address and I need to validate to make sure it's an actual email address, I can actually initialize and validate with a Lambda. So I can have a code hook here. And if I selected this, it would ask me, what Lambda do you want to use for validation? Not necessary in this case. Fulfillment. So again, let's say I want to use the SDK to go out and grab my billing information. I might hook this up to a Lambda, and then inside the Lambda, I fulfill the intent. I go get the billing information and I supply it back to the bot.
We've got a question.
What's the question?
IB Raman asks, what happens if the user provides an utterance that isn't defined?
So you can set up error handling for that, but then also I think it just says, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, you can set up, so there's two issues here, or not two issues, two things that can happen. One, it will respond with a missed utterance type response. Two, it also collects all these missed utterances in a document that then you can view on, I believe it's your monitoring tab. Yeah. And so you can see what people are asking. So then you can add those as utterances later.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm building the bot. So this is a very, very simple bot. There are no Lambdas involved with this bot like there are going to be later on.
Right.
There are no slots to fulfill because I'm not going to ask them, and my response is just going to be, your AWS bill is $10 a month. So
it's always $10. Because it's hard-coded.
Yeah, it's always $10.
I love it.
I just hard-coded.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
That would be
if your bill was always $10 no matter what.
Okay. So.
All right, so you built it.
Yep, I built it.
There you go. All right.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
So I can, create a conversation where I say hi, and then it says something else, and then maybe it asks me my name, and then it says, Nikki, what would you like to ask me? And then, we can keep going all day long, but just for the purposes of like a simple bot creation, this is all I would need to do. And then I would just publish it if I actually wanted to use this through the SDK or through one of the channels. So the nice thing is that we have all these channels here already readily available and integrated. So Facebook, Kik, Slack, and Twilio SMS. I think Slack is going to be what AM shows us a little bit later. So,
yes.
Like any good startup, we have a Slack channel.
Of course we do.
Of course we do. And we communicate in this Slack channel a lot. And I want to be able to ask a Slack bot, what is our monthly bill? Or how many users do we have? Or whatever I want to ask. And so he would basically just set up the Slack integration on the bot that he built. It's fairly simple. It's just a form, give it the information, and then you can use it inside Slack. And then this is the monitoring that he said. So you can watch what people are utterances. So if you see utterances from people that are not in your utterance list, you can add them to your utterance list. So add utterance to intent. If anything showed up here, I could easily add it with one click. Yeah, that's basically how to do it in the console without writing a single line of code.
Yeah, so Skull Crusher asked too if we can show that utterance page later on too. I don't know that I have any missed ones, but I do have the detected ones.
There's nothing in here. Well, I could just, let's see.
I don't know how quickly it actually gets added to the utterance list. I think it's a process that takes some time.
Yeah.
So, but
it probably doesn't do it from the test bot. It's only if you actually publish it and deploy it, right?
I don't know. I actually don't know that either. But we could show more of the monitoring.
We can look that up, Skull Crusher.
There's definitely CloudWatch monitoring enabled too. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have it on the spot.
What about Amplify?
Okay, so if I wanted to do this from inside, let's say we were building a customer-facing bot, which again, we're not. But if we were doing that, I could, since I already have a React Native app, let me get out of Poly. Sorry. So let's see, our app is in the AM and Nicki project.
Oh, we have our own project.
We have our own project.
In your file system.
This is our app. If I wanted to add a chatbot to this app, all I would do is say amplify, add interactions. Now, if I just say amplify for a second, we can just see the options again. For
what is
a hot second.
Amplify?
So yeah, if you missed one of the earlier episodes, Amplify is three things really. It is a CLI tool that will allow you to build infrastructure on AWS with just a couple of commands essentially. It is a JavaScript library that you can put in a React Native app, a React app, Angular, Ionic. I think it also has support for iOS and Java as well. And then it is also pre-built components. So you can use these pre-built components. So we used in our app an authentication pre-built sign-in, login, all those pages are pre-built components that we're using in our app. And then I think there's a fourth component now, which is the
console,
the Amplify console. And from the console, you can import a GitHub project and then deploy it pretty easily, right?
Yeah, it's really nice too for having different deployments, dev deployment, prod deployment, and I think it even generates some screenshots of your project too.
Yep.
On different form factors. So
it's definitely cool. You should check it out. The console is a recent development for Amplify. I think it launched at reInvent.
Yeah.
So coming back into here, if I just typed Amplify, I get this lovely picture. And then I get categories. So all these categories are things I can add to my project. So in the case of a bot, it's going to be interactions. And remember, we did this before with auth. So we did amplify, add, auth, and that is how we incorporated our authentication into our app.
Right. And these categories actually point to one or more, in some cases, cloud services in AWS, right?
Yep. But you don't have to know the names of those services. You don't have to know how they work. You just have to know the category that you're essentially trying to add to your application, which is really nice. Provide a friendly resource name. Okay, so.
I love your naming.
I don't know if it'll work. Let's just do that.
Okay.
Okay, so I can start from scratch, and if I start from scratch, it's going to go through the whole list of questions that basically I filled in on the console. But if we just start with a sample, because in the interest of time, because we want to get to see what AM built. So choose a sample chatbot. These are the same 3 chatbots that you saw in the console as options. If we choose schedule appointment.
I don't want to interrupt you, but we do have a question. Is Amplify making a CloudFormation script? This is Skull Crusher asking.
It is making a CloudFormation template.
Yes.
Okay, again, it's asking me, is this subject to COPA? It's not. Successfully added. So now what I have to do is I have to push it. So if I do Amplify status, oh, I have another bot in there with 2 T's.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, let's remove that one. This is how you remove something, by the way. Nope.
I think you have to put interactions, right? Anyways, I think it's okay to have 2, right?
All right, let's try pushing. I'm going to make 2 bots. So if we push, it's actually going to take that CloudFormation template and deploy it.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to continue. Absolutely.
Now it's going to generate the CloudFormation and update it, actually, since you already have CloudFormation stack deployed for this app.
I like how I spelled bot with 2 T's.
Makes it unique, right? That's a unique... Yeah, that all this output right now is CloudFormation telling us what's happening in the background.
So I just want to show you guys really quickly, if you were to go to the AWS Amplify docs, how easy it is to incorporate this chatbot into your app if you actually are building a customer-facing chatbot.
Yeah, let's see what that looks like.
So we are building a React Native app, but we're just going to go to interactions. And, it's told us to do the things that we've just did. So Amplify add interactions, Amplify push, and then how to configure your app. So you want to make sure that you add interactions from app.js. We've already added Amplify, so we would just basically copy and paste this and throw it in our app.js if we were doing that. And then, it's asking you to create a chatbot. So if we didn't use the CLI to create a chatbot, we'd have to go through the console and do that. But because we already did, we would just scroll down to using with React Native, which is right here. We could just drop in this pre-built component, and we can actually style it as well. So you can add styling as you so, because whatever styling they use, you might not like this orange for whatever reason. So yeah, you can just drop in this chatbot in your React Native app, and it works pretty much out of the box. And then if you wanted to add voice, you would just need to basically follow the instructions to turn on voice. It's fairly simple to incorporate this and then give a full, complete example of how to use a chatbot in an existing app. It's really cool. You can also use it with Angular and Ionic. Looks like there's documentation here as well for that. But for React Native, it's pretty simple. You can drop in the component. I think there's also methods up here that you can reference. So
yeah, that's if you need to do lower level stuff.
Yep.
Directly interacting with the bot, right?
Yep. Okay. Send, on-complete. If you wanted to respond a certain way that you want to basically interfere with the bot, you can do that all through here. That's basically if you wanted to create a customer-facing bot inside maybe your app is an internal app, who knows, but our app is definitely a customer-facing app, and we're not going to do a bot in our customer-facing app because that's actually not aligned with our MVP goals. Right.
So, just so you know, the name of the childlike empress is Moonchild.
Moonchild, that's
Moonchild.
right.
There you go.
I did know
I told
that.
you I'd break that out later for you. Moonchild.
You know what's funny? I was trying to think of it the whole time that we were not what is the name?
Moonchild. It's a great name. I love it. So all right, let's summarize what we've been working on so far for anybody joining. right now.
Absolutely. So what we've done so far is we created an Amazon Lex bot using the console without writing a single line of code. And then we went into our terminal and we actually did pretty much the same thing using Amplify. And now what I was showing is how to use that bot in your React Native app or your React web app. You can do both using the Amplify docs. It's very easy tutorial with a ton of code samples. You could just drop into your application and get it working like immediately. Basically, Amplify has been, we've showed auth using Amplify and how we got it working pretty immediately. So most things with Amplify are just pretty fast to get up and running and dropping in code samples into your existing project. Now, we're going to switch over to the funnest part of this episode.
What?
Yeah. No, it's with you.
Somebody else coming in?
No, it's just with you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not implying that you're fun. We're implying that what you
Oh,
built
what
might
I'm
be.
doing is fun.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I guess I can buy that.
Yeah.
That's fine. All right. So let's. You want to see some bots? I guess.
I want to see our startup bot.
Oh, you want to see the startup bot? Well, I made some other bots too.
You made some other bots.
Yeah.
So you took away valuable, precious time from creating our MVP to build some other bots.
Well,
for what purpose exactly?
I think the kids say for the lulz or the lulz. I don't know how that's pronounced.
All right. If you make me laugh, we'll let you off the hook.
I'll never try and say something like that again.
If you make me laugh, I'll let you off the hook for that one. Otherwise,
it felt really,
we need to talk about the development plan again.
It felt really uncomfortable saying for the lulz. Just so you know.
Well, you didn't have to say it.
I know, but I want to relate. I want to relate to the audience.
You do.
I do.
Do you guys feel related to
No.
when you said that? Because like
no.
I don't.
Please say no. All right, let's go look at my bot. This is the Pump Up the Jam bot.
Pump up the jam.
Yeah, you know the song by Technotronic.
I know the
Pump
song.
Up the Jam.
So what exactly does
up.
this bot do?
It pumps up the jam. That's what it does.
Okay.
Well, this is much like the bot that you were showing us. This is one without any custom code.
Is this to like reinstill faith in our startup when we're like feeling down?
Yeah, this is so we can pump up the jam. All right.
Got it.
I mean, what more do you need?
So
what other reason?
You just want to get going. Okay, so let's see it.
All right.
First of all, what did you do?
I made a couple intents. I made 2 intents.
So this bot has 2 different goals.
Right. So the first intent is to ask, what do you do? What is it you say you do around here?
A whole lot of nothing.
Or you say hi, you know. This is just to repeat back what the bot does.
I'm a simple bot. I see a jam. I want to pump it up.
I mean, that's at the end of the day. Really, I think.
All right, you made me laugh. You win. You're off the hook.
I think we should all aspire to be like this bot.
Oh
if
my
you see a jam, you would like to pump it up. I think.
Just for the record, though.
Yeah.
For the next week, you need to focus on the sprint. No pump up the jam bots.
All right. So this is a very simple. There's no slots to take in. This just is informative, right? And I think basically any bot probably needs an intent like this, so that your user. I mean, at the end of the day, even with a chat bot, we're still doing UX, right? I mean, we still have to consider how your user is going to interact with this bot.
Absolutely.
Just a way different way of doing UX. So our UX is giving the list of what can I do with this bot, and this is what you can do with it. We have some questions.
We have an unrelated question.
Okay,
I was
cool.
Just quickly answering.
No worries. So we've got a few utterances to get the main thing that this bot does. All right. We can say, I feel like pumping up the jam. Please pump up the jam.
Okay.
And this is how you initiate the pump up the jam bot. And what it does is I have 2 messages here, right? One is I'm ready to pump up the jam. The next is a list of Spotify songs that are related to pumping up the jam.
Randomly selected by you.
And so what's neat about having multiple messages in one of these boxes
Okay.
is that it will randomly select one of these to pump up the jam, right?
Okay.
Fair enough?
Yeah, let's see.
You want to see it? I actually
Yeah,
deployed it to Slack.
Oh, it's already in our
Yeah,
Slack?
see, look, if we go to the channels here, I've got these postback and OAuth URLs that were generated for me when I deployed this to Slack. all it is, as you mentioned, just dropping these values in here and also doing some work on the Slack side. There's actually we could post the link to the docs on how to do this. But here we go. I've got the Pump Up the Jam bot here. I've already been pumping up some jams. Okay. So if I say hi, that was one of the things. I'm a simple bot.
Okay, yeah.
I messed up the quotes, though.
Say pump up the jam.
But try Pump Up the Jam. Pump up the jam. How many times can I say Pump Up the Jam? There we go.
Like 8 more at least.
Oh, this is a Bob Marley song called Jamming.
And then you could just play it right there.
I could, yeah, but that might get our stream taken down for copyright infringement. But let's try it again. Shall we pump up the jam?
Always testing those boundaries, aren't you?
You know, I like to push it as far as I can. Shall we pump up the jam? I'm ready to pump up the jam.
Oh my god.
So this one didn't expand because it was one that was already listed, which is probably Technotronic's Pump Up the Jam.
Which you also can't play.
The jams, let's pump them up. Now this isn't an utterance that I put in. What's going to happen? Oh, it's still got it. It's okay. It must be close enough. Let's see. Let's try something that's totally not in there. Ah, see? So this is the utterance when it misses. Sorry,
can you
please repeat that?
Because you didn't add that utterance.
Yeah, and you can configure things like retrying. So this is Pearl Jam, actually.
Okay, so did you build me like a real bot, or like I only have a Pump Up the Jam bot, just for the record?
I feel
'Cause
like...
that means I'm still going to consistently harass you.
I feel like you're really
daily.
downplaying this Pump Up the Jam bot. I mean...
It's super cool. But what purpose is that serving our startup exactly?
All right, fair enough. I also built a Petunia bot.
You also built a Petunia bot.
Yeah.
Well, you know, considering how easy it is to build bots, I won't fault you for building the fun bot.
Yeah.
You're not in trouble for that. And it also made me laugh, so you win.
I think you're downplaying the importance of the Pump Up the Jam bot, but we'll move on.
If that is important for you to feel like you can do your job, then it's valuable.
It's wildly important to me. It
Okay.
might be the most
Then
important
it is
thing
extremely valuable.
to my job that I've ever done.
Really?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to commit to that. All right, so I've got now a different utterance, or a different intent, sorry, with different utterances called Petunia, what do you do? So I'm starting out just like I did with the Pump Up the Jam bot. So I did some research with the Pump Up the Jam bot. I learned, and now I'm applying it to our real bot, okay?
Okay. So the Pump Up the Jam bot actually served a real purpose, is what you're trying to say.
Let's say yes.
Okay, let's say yes.
Let's say
Hypothetically.
absolutely.
Hypothetically.
Uh,
Continue.
All right, so I got the Pump Up the Jam bot idea to list out the things that I can do for my user, right? And so again, this is just messages. There's no custom code here. Nothing happening. I've also deployed this to Slack so we can see it working. Here's a little preview. Let's say yo. Oh. All right, here we go.
You can ask me about things like user count, billing, or current service usage. That is exactly what I wanted.
I didn't actually implement any of those.
Okay, great.
I implemented one thing.
But you're working on those.
I'm working on it,
Okay.
maybe.
These are trivial things to me. Trivial.
Well,
But I will
Petunia,
answer.
to the bot, not to me.
Okay, let me try using the bot. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
Tell me about the users.
That's probably... Oh, no, it registered. Cool. Close enough. What's the user's name?
What is it expecting? An email or a name?
An email. All right, so I am a user. Yep.
Whoa!
There you go.
This is valuable information.
Okay.
You did something valuable.
I did.
I'm really proud of you.
Wow.
This is great.
So,
How is this working?
yeah, you can also tell me about a user, and if it misses, if that user doesn't exist, 'cause you're not in our database, actually.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
How am I not in the database?
you're not there yet. I couldn't find any info about Nicki.
I would apologize, but it's probably your fault. It is your fault. Why am I not in the database?
It's a good question. I don't know. I don't think you've signed up for our service.
What? I was the first sign up.
Oh, no, that was on the email interest list.
I built the front end. I signed up on the front end.
So what's interesting is it's a different database. That's not the production database.
Oh, okay.
CTO card going.
Got it. Got it.
I have this list too. We can talk about this if we have time, but this is how I conceptualize a lot of the concepts we've been talking through. But you asked, how does this work? I meant to show before we go into the code. Our Petunia user utterance, which is tell me about a user, is using a slot to store the user's name. That's how you put in my username and got info. But it's actually using an AWS Lambda as the fulfillment.
You wrote some code.
I wrote some code. So that's my playground. This is a different...
Not live, but you already wrote the code.
I'm writing it right now. Don't you see?
You're writing it right now. Got it.
It's happening right now. I'm writing. Look. Wow, all this code's coming out real fast.
So much live coding happening.
Yeah, of course. This is all live. I didn't write any of this before. I'm writing it right now.
Okay, so this is a Lambda, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, this is the signature of a Lambda, right? Got the event and context. I've actually put it into a separate module.
Okay.
Because
a dispatcher.
Just so I can have more flexibility with how I handle it, right? One of the first things that you might see, though, are these dialogue. This is another thing that I've put into another module. And I'll add this code, as always, to our GitHub. It's not up there yet. But I'm giving a close method, which will end the conversation, right? And then I'm giving it the fulfillment state of failed. Because if I get into an error state before I even get anything else, then it's probably failed. Right?
Yeah, and you still need to give the bot back.
Well, this is how the bot responds with error messages, for example.
I couldn't answer your question. I'm too busy deleting things.
Yeah. That's what Petunia does. Petunia deletes stuff.
Oh my god. Okay, this is great.
All right, so we've got two modules here that we're talking about, we're pulling in, right? We've got dispatching and dialogue. Which one do you want to look at first?
I want to see the dispatcher.
Okay, so the dispatcher, I designed it to be able to work. So this is the main method off of it.
You designed it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wrote all this code.
I'm sure there wasn't somebody else.
Nobody did. I did this.
You did this.
I promise.
You did this.
You did this.
I did this.
Now it's your code.
I did this.
As the CEO, you own all this. This is your...
Okay, right. Now, continue.
So I made it flexible enough to be able to write specific fulfillments of intents, right? Remember, we had two different intents.
We had two different intents.
One didn't have any custom code to it, which is fun.
The other one did.
And we'll add more intents that do, right, eventually. So this is the...
Got it.
This is the switch case that handles
You're
which
switching
intent.
on intents.
Yeah.
So you named one of the intents Petunia user. That was the first one that we saw.
Right.
And so now, in this case, now you can respond appropriately.
And this is the event, right, coming in from Lex.
The Lambda.
From Lex into Lambda, right? This is the shape of that. It always starts with this current intent.
Cool.
So what I'm doing here is if it matches on Petunia user. This is like the most sophisticated dependency injection container you'll ever see. I'm just kidding. It's not anything like that. This is like terrible dependency injection.
Yeah.
So I've got this Petunia user. If it matches on that, I'm going to go ahead and use a different module. I've separated out the code concerns.
Okay.
To be able to fulfill it, right? And so I'm going to need things like session attributes, if I've altered those, slots, and then the current intent name that I'm trying to fulfill.
Got it.
Cool.
So you pass all of that to a method called fulfill.
Yep.
Inside Petunia user fulfillment.js.
Yeah. And let's say something triggers this Lambda and it doesn't match the current intent. If I don't have anything built out for that, I've also handled that with this dialog close again, right? So it failed. I can't process it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. I don't have that intent.
Yeah. Cool. So what do you want to see next? Do you want to see the dialogue choices or do you want to see this Petunia user thing?
The Petunia user thing.
Of course you do. So the Petunia...
I'm logically following.
You are. I love it.
Yeah.
The Petunia... I mean, I'm glad that you can in this. That tells me I didn't do everything horribly wrong. You can actually follow it.
Not quite.
Not quite yet. So this is the fulfillment for when I ask the question, tell me, or when I use the utterance, tell me about a user. Right?
Okay.
So this is how it gets fulfilled. It passes in session attributes, which you can use throughout sessions. Remember, you set that 5-minute timeout on sessions?
Yep.
You can keep these variables alive. Like, so if I've already been given a username, I can set that as a session variable for any other utterances or intents that I want to use
I can keep
in a session.
Got it.
Yeah,
Really
so
cool.
I can keep it around. Same with slots and the intent name. I need all these things to construct dialogue responses from Lex.
Yep.
Or from my Lambda to Lex, rather.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, so I'm pulling off the username, right? So which is a slot, as we saw.
Yep.
It's like the user variable. So I'm also going to run some validation against it. We don't need to look at that too much. I've kind of made it a little configurable up here in case I change the name. This points directly to, just in case anybody's wondering, this value right here.
Yeah, the slot.
But not just the slot, because you also have to like generate slot types, which there are built-in ones.
Yes, there
But
are Amazon ones, and you can also create your own.
This is the actual like variable name, quote unquote, there that I would say. So if you change this, it will break if you don't change it in your code too.
Got it.
All right. So if I don't have a valid username here, I can try and get another one, right? It'll say
Right. If the response from the user is like not valid, aka it's not an email address, you can elicit a new response like, "Hey, I don't recognize that.
yeah, try again.
Try again."
And so then that will invoke a whole nother Lambda instead of just the same Lambda. And it'll try again, right? Otherwise, if it is valid, I'm going to go ahead and look up in our DynamoDB table for that username, right? To see if I get anything.
Database where we're not storing users, but we are.
This is the database that, I don't know what database you're using because this is the prod one.
Oh.
Just saying.
Really?
I don't know.
Okay,
So-
so we're using two different databases. That's okay.
That's great.
We'll
Our
resolve
startup's
that.
off to a good start.
We'll
I think.
resolve that at a later date.
Don't worry, I'll fire the ops team.
Oh.
It's me.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say.
me. I'm going to fire myself.
You're gonna fire yourself.
All right, so let's say we didn't get anything back. Uh-oh, I couldn't find information about that user. We saw that already.
We did. I apologize, but it's probably your fault.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Otherwise, we try and find the post counts.
Okay,
These
so
are all
now you're
values
creating the
in our Dynamo
analytics.
table. And then finally, we say fulfilled.
And then you actually display the information about the user.
That's right. And again, we've got error handling here. So that all these things get returned back up to that initial index, and then we return it as a response to Lex from our Lambda.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Super easy.
Does that make sense to you?
It made sense to me. Did it make sense to you guys?
I hope so.
He built a really cool bot.
Okay, so we can add more stuff. I think we're going to run out of time to do that today.
We are.
That's okay.
We have to wrap in a couple of minutes.
What's super nice, though, and interesting about this is, like, if I add another sample utterance, for example, right?
Yeah.
I could just click this publish button, and it will automatically, I don't have to go reinstall the app into Slack. I don't have to do any of that stuff. As long as my bot in the channels is pointing to the alias that I created it with, which is prod, right? So we're getting into some stuff that we haven't covered yet in Lex, but we've got these aliases that we can set. If I point this at a different version, then that will affect
Got it.
downstream
So
my
if
bot
you were
in
like
Slack.
testing, you could create a dev stage or a dev alias.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, for sure. All right, so so that's how I publish new things like slots and utterances to update the fulfillment of my application.
Yep.
I have to update the Lambda function, right? Which you can do with Sam. We saw that 2 episodes back. How to deploy serverless apps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. We
so,
deployed them with Sam.
yes.
Cool. So this is already in our Slack channel. Like I can start using this bot.
Yeah, I think you're in that Slack channel.
I mean, I am in the Slack channel.
But I deployed it. Yeah. I also deployed, just so you know, I also deployed the Pump Up the Jam bot to the Slack channel too.
For me or for you? Who is that for?
I mean, why not both?
Mostly you're going to be using that one.
Wow. My heart is breaking. All of my work. Okay.
I would do that to you in the last 3 minutes of the episode.
Yep, you would. It's okay. It's all right. This is an opportunity for me to grow.
Yeah, okay, so next time you could spend the time that you spent creating that, writing something actually useful, like getting me the monthly billing or like, the other stuff we talked about.
I mean, there's got to be somebody, at least one person on the Twitch stream that likes the Pump Up the Jam bot.
I haven't seen anyone in chat say anything about your Pump Up the Jam bot, actually. I have been watching it very closely.
Nobody wants to pump up the jams with me.
Skull Crusher for Life said, I'm imagining Nicki and AM talking to a group of investors and the look on my face when I hear pump up the jam from across the room. Valid point.
All right. Well, what are we going to
100%
do?
valid
So
point.
we're actually taking a break for a few weeks because of travel schedules and
Yeah,
whatnot.
unfortunately we have to travel, but we're coming back for our final episode
Yeah.
and a little machine learning.
Ooh, ML.
Ooh.
Hopefully all the API ones.
When is our next episode? March?
I don't know.
Third week of March?
Maybe one of our friends in the chat moderation will drop in
We
when that
will
episode
tweet
is.
about it and we will post about it and we will drop it in the chat as soon as the episode is over because neither of us can remember.
All right. But thank you for watching. We will be back when we're back.
Thanks
And-
so much for joining us.
All right. See you later.